Hello and welcome. My name is John and this is my long and boring tutorial video on how to get started in Helldivers. In this video I wanna ramble on about this game's various control methods, as well as some of the options which include the voice communication settings and the PC exclusive progression reset options. I'm playing the Steam version of the game on a Windows 7 PC. So, as you may or may not know, this game was originally developed by Arrowhead Studios for Sony Computer Entertainment and released in 2015 on the PlayStation Network for PS4, PS3 and the PS Vita systems. The game was later ported to the PC and in 2016 released on Steam. Unlike the PSN version of the game, the Steamworks version does not allow for online crossplay between all these various systems. So while PS4 and PS3 and PS Vita players can play together, Steamworks players cannot play with the PS4, PS3, PS Vita players, unfortunately. Although the Galactic campaign takes progress from all networks into account. Anyway, this video isn't about that. It's about the control methods. So to start out, when you're greeted with this screen and asked to press any key, depending on what key you press, whether on your keyboard and mouse configuration or on your gamepad, it will lock down that control method for your primary player character for your gameplay session. There is a convoluted way to change or to switch between the two control methods in-game without having to exit the game, and how to do that I'll show you in a bit. So personally I'm a gamepad player, although I'll play first-person shooters with a keyboard and mouse. I feel Helldivers is best for me if I played with a gamepad. The keyboard and mouse configuration allows for increased precision when aiming, and this precision cannot be achieved using the gamepad's analog sticks. However, I feel both control methods are viable in this game and you should try out both and then pick the one that you feel most comfortable with. For demonstration purposes, I pressed my left mouse button and started up the game using keyboard and mouse controls. And now I'm gonna spawn into my ship. And you'll immediately notice the biggest difference between keyboard and mouse and gamepad controls. This cursor right here, you do not get this cursor when you play on a gamepad. So when you hold your aim button on your mouse or your shoot button, you can aim using this cursor. It makes perks such as the laser pointer that you get when starting out completely redundant. So if you have DLC or different perks to choose from, you can immediately use something besides the laser pointer to aim perfectly at enemies and avoid shooting your teammates, if you're careful. Hitting escape, you can go into the options menu, and here you have your keybindings, which you can change completely to your liking. There is also this menu hidden in here, which influences your gameplay actions such as sprint, dodge, aim, stratagems and map. You can switch between hold and toggle for these functions. As you can see, these are the default keybindings for the game. And since I play on a gamepad, I don't need any of these except for one. I always switch interact from the E key to my middle mouse button. And I'll get into the reason for doing that later. Just know that the middle mouse button is something that I'll never use during the game when I play on a gamepad, whereas the E key is necessary for using the chat functionality. In the settings, you'll have a few mouse and keyboard specific options, such as the map scroll input, which you can switch from keyboard only, mouse only, and mouse and keyboard. You have a crosshair always visible or invisible option. What this means is when you're in the game and you're not pressing your aim or shoot button, you can see a slight blob where your cursor is. If you don't like having this little blob and having your cursor always visible, you can switch it to off, or to no, I should say. And now it becomes almost completely invisible. Not entirely though, you can still see a slight shadow of your cursor. I mean, you won't see it on YouTube because the resolution doesn't allow for that, but in game you will see a very, very dim shadow. It's not entirely invisible, but it's the next best thing if you don't like being able to see your cursor all the time. And if you like to have a larger mouse cursor or crosshair, then you have an option for that as well. So, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is a press A to join option. Right now, I have one gamepad hooked up to my PC. You can actually hook up to 4 gamepads to your PC and play locally with your friends in a 4-player local co-op mode with everyone using a gamepad, or 3 people using a gamepad and 1 person using the keyboard and mouse configuration. So right now, when I press A on my gamepad, I will spawn a clone of my player character. This clone has a different look, and that look can be changed in the armory, just like you can change it for your main character. You can, use the same visual customization options, the same helmets, armors, capes, and gender options that you can use for your main character. What all of your clones cannot do is unlock upgrades or permanently upgrade. Words are hard. Your clones cannot permanently upgrade your weapons and stratagems. These are all tied to your main player character, and the clones can use all of the same weapons, stratagems, perks, and their corresponding upgrades that you have unlocked with your main player character. Now, if you want to get rid of any clone, you have to press start on the respective gamepad that you use to spawn it. So press start and select player dropout. And now this character is gone. So I said that it is possible to switch control methods in the game without having to leave. So the way you do this is you spawn in a clone, and then you hit escape on your keyboard and select player dropout from there. And now your clone turns into your main player character. And between loading screens, or when you use the armory, the game will switch your character, the clone, to your main character, and give it its visual customization from your main player character. Now, when you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see a press middle mouse button to join. So initially I changed the E key to the middle mouse button because when you use a gamepad, you can still use the chat window in the game. So you use it on your keyboard. And let's say you're typing something, and between loading screens, the chat window will sometimes disappear, or you hit the E key on accident, and you will spawn in a clone, which can be a problem if you're the host and have 3 additional people in your party, you know, online players. When you spawn in a clone by accident, you hit E during chat, the game will automatically kick out one of your buddies from your party, and they'll have to rejoin the game, which can be a bit inconvenient, you know, especially in the middle of a hectic firefight. So to alleviate that, I just changed the use key on the keyboard configuration to something that I would never use during chat on the keyboard. In this case, I changed it to the middle mouse button because I don't play using a keyboard and mouse. I don't need it, and especially not during chat. So there's that. Just like with the keyboard and mouse configuration, if you use a gamepad and go into Keybindings, you can change all of the keys to your liking. I find this functionality really commendable because I feel not a lot of games allow you to set up your custom gamepad controls. Like, say you don't like having a certain function on a certain key. You can change it completely. You can customize it to your liking. Also, you have hidden here the same toggle options that you have for keyboard and mouse. As I said, whichever method you prefer, that's up to you. Choose what you feel is most comfortable for you. Okay, let's talk about the options menu a little bit. So here you have the graphics option, and you can choose a few different options, a few visual options. You have a full screen choice of full screen, windowed borderless, and windowed mode. Because I like to use a microphone and I sometimes tab out of the game to, surf the internet or do whatever, I prefer to use the windowed borderless mode. The problem with the full screen mode is that when you alt-tab out onto your desktop, first of all, when you tab back into the game will switch it to windowed mode. I have no idea if this is just an issue on Windows 7. I have not tried this game on a Windows 10 PC, so I wouldn't know. Also, when you use a microphone and alt-tab to your desktop, the microphone and generally the voice communication system may be disabled when you tap back into the game. So your teammates may then not hear you, and you may not hear your teammates, and you'll have to restart the game to get your voice communications back on track. And the windowed borderless mode, which by the way looks almost exactly like the regular full screen mode, alleviates that problem. So yeah, I recommend using that windowed borderless mode. I was made aware of this by my friend Mickey, and I have no idea how good the windowed borderless mode is. One other option I wanted to show you is the UI scale. So with 100% UI scale, of course, the font size for the menus is increased. But now you can see at the bottom of the screen is a very large heads-up display. This is where your stratagems will be displayed when you use them in-game. And at 100%, this takes up quite a lot of screen space. So I always set this to 70%. So I have a lot more available screen space even when I use the stratagems and the stratagem menu. I was talking about voice communication earlier, and your options for voice chat are in your regular options menu. So you can enable and disable voice chat entirely. One important thing I recommend everyone do when they start out the game is go into this options menu and go to push to talk. By default, push to talk is set to no, which means that if you have a microphone plugged in, you will always transmit every noise that your microphone picks up, and you will transmit it into the lobby. The problem is if you play this game and not use headphones or listening to music, you will really annoy your teammates with distorted, screechy, echoey sounds coming from your speakers and going through your microphone. So please, if you're just gonna do one thing in the options menu, go to this options menu and switch push to talk to yes. And then, check the key bindings for what your push to talk key is. Now, last but not least, the the PC exclusive progression reset options. These are PC exclusive due to Arrowhead adding them after hackers gave players infinite XP or research points, and that was a problem during the early release of this game. So you can only find this progression reset menu from the main menu. So you go into options and you go into settings, and now at the very bottom is the progression settings menu. You will not find this when you're in the game. You can only find this in the main menu. So at the very top you have drop a rank. So this will drop you one rank from whatever rank you are right now. It will lock whatever unlock you have right now that is tied to this rank. It will lock it behind a progression barrier. One thing to note is that whatever research points you spent on that unlock will remain for this item when you unlock it again. So say you've unlocked the Justice Assault Rifle at level 18 and you upgraded it to maximum, right? You bought all the upgrades. Now you drop a rank to rank 17. You can't use the Justice again, but when you unlock it again, reach rank 18, you get your upgraded Justice Rifle just as you left it before you dropped the rank. Reset research points will reset all your accumulated research samples and earned research points that you have in your account. It will not affect whatever you have spent on upgrades, on stratagems or weapons. You don't get these back. You can't unmake upgrades, at least not using this functionality. It will just reset all your samples and research points to 0, and you will not get you will not get them refunded whatsoever. Reset unlocks, on the other hand, affects only the mission rewards that you get from finishing level 1 to level 12 planets during the regular galactic campaign. So you know, the airstrikes and machine guns, rocket launchers, and at level 12, each of the 3 different capes that you get as reward, you lock these behind the progression barrier again, and you'll have to repeat all of these planets, all of these missions again to unlock your stratagems and capes again. Last but not least, reset all progression will completely wipe your progress and reset your character to 0. So all your research points, samples and XP, as well as unlocks, is gone, and you're a newbie just when you started out in the game. You know, it can be fun to do the rise to the top all over again. So if you want to do that, here's the option for that. One thing to note is that your Steam achievements are completely unaffected by this. So whatever achievements you've unlocked, you'll keep those achievements. That, you know, doesn't affect it. It's just your XP and research points. Alright, that will be it for this video. I hope you found this somewhat helpful and not too boring. And I hope you join me next time when I will explain how to breathe and not suffocate, maybe. Bye bye!